This episode of the podcast is brought to you by our friends at Regrow, the premier cloud-based cannabis supply chain management system.
If you're a cannabis company searching for a strategic business partner to help you automate your business, scale effectively, and make the supply chain work for you, then you need to know about Regrow. Regrow is the first of its kind software that leverages components of leading ERP and supply chain systems with the necessary compliance of the cannabis industry. That's right, you'll get all aspects of regulatory compliance built in, with the added value of workforce management, inventory, SOP management, and reporting and metrics that allow for companies to scale successfully. So stop using the whiteboard, spreadsheets, and email to manage your cultivation, distribution, and manufacturing processes, and instead incorporate Regrow. Visit their website at regrow.io. That's regrow.io. Regrow, the premier cloud-based cannabis supply chain management system.
This episode of the podcast is brought to you by Cannassure.
Cannassure Insurance Services creates insurance programs designed to grow and protect the cannabis industry. Cannassure's team of cannabis insurance experts is constantly innovating to solve the biggest coverage issues facing business owners and regularly seeks customer feedback to shape its programs. Cannassure's Cannabiz and Hemp program includes industry-leading property capacity up to 40 million and general liability up to 6 million. Because of these higher limits, the program is especially suited for multi-state operators and can write one policy to cover all operations. Additionally, Cannassure offers brokerage services for specialty coverages, which include outdoor crop insurance to cover natural disasters, commercial auto insurance to cover delivery, workers' compensation, and much more. If you're looking for a team that works tirelessly to help you grow, then contact Cannassure at cannassure.com. That's cannassure.com. Cannassure, insurance designed to protect and grow the cannabis industry. Hello, my fellow people of the plant. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Cannabinoid Connect podcast, your favorite podcast that includes industry-facing conversations with the industry's leading experts that aim to educate and inform the public regarding the plant's endless benefits. My guest today is Fabian Monaco. He's the president at Gage Cannabis Co. Fabian Monaco, welcome back, man.
How you doing? Nice to be on again. It's been a long time.
It's been a long time. Yeah. In fact, it's been I think just over 6 months. You were here January of this year. It was episode 110. And we're already 100 episodes deep, more into this podcast. And a lot has happened with Gage Cannabis, man. So really excited to be talking to the president of Gage Cannabis today. So Fabian, let's first start off with the company performance of Gage. I know that yesterday y'all released your Q2 earnings report, and it was great. Just reading off the press release here, I see that you ended the quarter with 32.8 million of cash, gross margins of 34.2% compared to 26% in Q1. So let's talk a little bit about that, man. What got you guys to this point of success, and what all has happened along the way since we last talked?
Yeah, and look, it was a tremendous amount of growth from the company in a short period of time. The last time we spoke, we were just, obviously finishing up our fiscal period for 2020. It was a great year for us, but obviously we knew we could do that much better. And so fresh off our successful Reg A financing, really hit the ground running going into 2021. We got our third cultivation asset up and running. We were actually just really operating with two little small facilities for most of our existence, and frankly, have only been operational as a company since September 2019. So we're actually approaching just our 2-year anniversary. So in that short period of time, from essentially 2019, and then even more importantly, from let's call it Q4 of 2020. The company's grown exponentially. We had our third asset come online, as I mentioned, from a cultivation standpoint, essentially doubled, more than doubled, I should say, our retail footprint, and really, focused on our margins and saw exponential growth there as well. I think, we've gone up pretty much close to 20% on the gross margin basis in basically 2 quarters. Our revenue has gone from, 10 or so, approximately 10 in Q4 to now, 26 plus. So tremendous amount of growth, in a short period of time. And really just a testament to our execution and, saying what doing what we said we were going to do only 6 months ago.
You know what? And it's so true because you did. I was just going to bring that up. You basically, I think the question came up where I was like, yes, you guys are hyper focused on the Michigan market, doing very, very well there, setting your foothold. And I asked the question, are you one that's going to expand outside of Michigan? You think about, other states and whatnot. And, I think your answer was, look, like we want to get it right here, and we want to, be the ones here in Michigan, and then think about where we can kind of apply that next and put that focus. So it really is a testament to what you said previously. So is it all execution? I mean, I'm sure there had been a lot of planning in that also. Like what's the secret sauce?
Yeah, no. So most definitely a lot of planning. We were pretty rigid in our planning and the way we spent money pretty much since inception, right? If we can all recall, obviously a bit of a difficult time from a capital market standpoint right now. If we all recall how 2019 was, it was also not the greatest of times in cannabis land from a capital market standpoint. Very difficult to get capital. Cost of capital, even on a debt or sale leaseback side of things, was just astronomical for small companies like ours at the time. So it really taught us to be really prudent capital allocators within our company, really putting money towards assets that were really going to generate outsized returns for not only the company, but our shareholders. And so that planning, I think, has stuck with us. So even though we had a big, boost in our cash balance when we did our $50 million Reg A, one of the fastest to get, $50 million there. And that was a pretty quick process as well, relatively speaking. So we're really proud about that. And I think we continue to punch well above our weight in terms of, the amount of capital we put towards this business. We've raised a little over 100 since inception. So since the 4 years that the company's been in inception, and may sound like a lot of money, obviously, and it's no small amount. But if you compare that to some of our peers who have raised hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars, and you look at our Q2 results, I think we're particularly proud, especially considering we still have about 30 million of that on the books.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you mentioned your stakeholders, right? And when we talked, Gage wasn't even a publicly traded company at the time,
No,
right? So,
yeah.
I mean, talk a little bit about that journey and being listed and what that experience has been thus far.
Yeah, so for us, we identified a great opportunity in the sense that we knew there was no real public exposure to Michigan. And not to pat ourselves on the back, we knew the Michigan market was going to simply explode. Michigan 2019, outside of the top 10 in terms of sales as a whole, and also on a monthly basis, run rates perspective, all of a sudden, near the end of the year, December 1st, 2019, goes to the adult use market, and then in 2020 it explodes to number 6, and then now we're pretty much gunning for the number 2 spot from a run rate standpoint in Colorado, right? So we kind of identified that and knew that Michigan was going to be pretty big, and thought, hey, we want to be one of the first to have that true Michigan exposure and on a large scale. And so for us, made the decision to go public right after we completed our Reg A financing. Obviously a phenomenal, following from our shareholder base, thousands of shareholders we had before going public. And so just thought it was the right move. And even from, if you take a look at it from a cost of capital or the ability to access capital, when you're a publicly traded company, not only does it help your brand, you're obviously out there publicly, right, but more importantly, your access to capital is just to another degree, from a debt side of things, sale leaseback side of things, and frankly, even potentially on the equity side of things. Overall, it's been a great experience. We've been publicly traded, I believe, just over 4 months now. Obviously, not the best 4 months in cannabis from a capital market standpoint.
Have we hit rock bottom yet? That's the question I keep seeing on Twitter. Like, when does it happen? It's so crazy right now, man.
Yeah. But you know what? Look, I've been on the capital market side of this business for now.
And I'm speaking in generalities as the cannabis industry as a whole, not just Gage, of course. You know what I mean? Like,
no, for rough. Sure. Yeah. Frankly, I think Gage has held up pretty well.
They actually have, yeah,
throughout this downturn. But no, most definitely, I think I've seen this a lot. We saw Canadian LP land. Then now, as the US MSOs start to really gain prominence, and frankly, not just now, but for the past couple of years, we've had some ebbs and flows too. I think it's just a matter of patience. we do have our dark days in cannabis, but we all know that generally a bunch of positive days come out of it eventually. So just a matter of patience, being prudent with your capital, and just hanging in there when it's not the best of times.
Yeah. Let's talk about, I mean, you mentioned the explosion within Michigan's adult use market, right? Retail sales are through the roof. And in terms of y'all's operations, I understand you have 9 cultivation facilities, which is compared to 2 cultivation facilities that you had in Q2 of 2020. So again, that's showing that just explosion of growth and expansion within the Michigan market that Gage Cannabis has been able to do. Talk us about your facilities, the operations. What does all that look like?
Yeah, so right now we operate 3 of our own cultivation assets. The third one that came online in December, as I mentioned earlier, it's really our flagship location for us. It's we're basically getting to the point where by the end of this year we'll have our phase 2 expansion fully completed, and also a processing asset up and running at that location. So really a flagship location for us. In addition to the 3 and that larger facility, we've entered into 12 actually contract grow agreements. And these are licensed producers that came to Gage and wanted to grow for Gage and Cookies on an exclusive basis. So I think something that really doesn't get appreciated enough, by the markets, or just, people that follow us generally. It's not that easy convincing a licensed producer to actually grow your own product for you, right? And so for us, we're particularly proud about that. 6 out of those 12 are now in operation and producing product for us. We started the year, there was only about 2 in Q2. Another one came online, and then near the end of Q2, the 4th and 5th came online, and now the 6th just got started as well. So just really phenomenal growth from a cultivation standpoint. When you look at what we were able to produce within our network, let's call it around this time last year, we're talking maybe 300 pounds, 350 pounds of total production. Now we just came out of July with 3,000 plus within our portfolio. It just shows you how we've been trending and how fast we've been able to grow, and in a capital light way, right? We have the opportunity for these contract growers to grow for us, but we're not paying for that OPEX. We're not paying for that CapEx. So really been blessed with the opportunity to have not only great cultivators in the state of Michigan, but those same cultivators actually wanted to do business with us and grow our product.
Yeah, it definitely sounds like it. And I'm glad that you brought up the exclusive partnership with Cookies, because I wanted to shift focus and talk about, through the consumer lens, right, of Gage Cannabis. And again, reading different press releases that have come out recently, y'all announced an exclusive partnership to bring Cookies brand to Canada. I know that there's been another extension, a license agreement that I think that you just mentioned in terms of that facility with Cookies. So what's the deal with Cookies, man? You guys are BFFs or what? Like it seems to be working out really well.
Yeah, look, they're the Nike of the space, the Red Bull of the space. They've been pretty much one of the top brands now for close to a decade. They've done a phenomenal job, not only in this space, but also just promoting cannabis as a lifestyle to just a phenomenal degree. And so we've had a great partnership with them. We were their first partner outside of the state of California, the first to open a dispensary out of the state of California. And so we've had a long-standing relationship with them. We were about a little over 2.5 years into our exclusivity with them, which was a 5-year exclusivity that was going to expire in 2024. Just announced another 2 years, so that goes till 2026. So really establishing deep roots with that team. They're at the forefront of pretty much everything in the cannabis space. If you even look at their clothing is just absolutely phenomenal. They continue to sell out of that as well. If you go on their website now, it's like difficult to even get a t-shirt.
Yeah, I have a family member that's a substitute teacher, and at the high school in the state I won't mention, but she saw the Cookies brand like backpack and was like, hey, I know what that is. And
Yeah.
the student was like, oh, but that's really amazing that they have that kind of reach in terms of their brand. Me being in a state like Texas where the legislature is talking about banning smokable hemp, I don't have the luxury of knowing fully, the extent of how great Cookies products are, but I could imagine that they're incredible, right?
You got to make your way to Michigan. Try it for yourself.
That's exactly right, man. The first places I'm going to go is to a Gage dispensary. So it'll all work out. Let's talk about the Michigan legal market again. So obviously there's growth there, there's explosion. What is the culture like in terms of the consumption culture?
Yeah, so frankly, one of the biggest, consumption cultures in the country. So they had a very long-standing medical program. I started off as they call it the caregiver program. It was introduced in 2008. And so you have a refined consumer base, individuals that have welcomed cannabis, or the state that has welcomed cannabis, and the individuals alike, in a big, big way. So from a medical standpoint, they were the second largest medical cardholder system, only behind California for many, many years. Obviously, now they're adult use for the past almost 2 years. That medical cardholder system has started to dwindle and is now behind places like Florida. But at the end of the day, still pretty strong at 250,000 or so. So, anyways, you have this long-standing, phenomenal patient base that really, really helped balloon the rec program today. And frankly, just great cultivators, some of the best cultivators in the country, in my opinion. You have a lot of individuals that know how to run dispensaries properly. And again, the cultivation is just top notch. To me, it's some of the best product in the country comes from Michigan.
Yeah, you've talked me into it, so I'm definitely gonna head out there at some point, making it another vacation. Hopefully by the end of this year, we'll see.
Sounds
Um,
good.
to wrap things up, let's talk about Gage's social equity efforts, right? So I heard that you also announced your third social equity, you're a grant recipient. So tell us a little bit about who that recipient is and what the criteria is for receiving a grant like that.
Yeah, look, the third recipient was Margot Brunner. She's essentially the owner of Holy Smokables. And so for us, the way we looked at social equity, we really try to, say to ourselves, how can we just go from simply saying, hey, we're going to donate money to this cause or donate money to that cause? How can we start something that's actually going to be, beneficial and make a difference, in someone's life? And so the way we focused on our particular social equity program is, small grants, but, frankly, those grants are particularly important, especially to someone who's starting a brand new business. But not only giving them some of that starting capital, but, let's call it seed capital, but more importantly, giving them that operational push and expertise and help. I think that goes, a very, very long way. It's the same as, if you're going to just go and donate your money, to a charity, that's great. But, what's really, really, truly beneficial is someone that actually puts their time and effort into volunteering for a cause or volunteering for a charity. And so for us, we tried to take that concept and bring it to our social equity program. And, the three recipients that we've had have all been phenomenal, especially the third. But, the first recipient, that individual took, his brand from essentially nothing. And, with our help, through our promotion and obviously through phenomenal product that he grows and cultivates, took his business to a multi-million-dollar business, right? And so that's how we try to shape our program. That's how we try to help people that have been disadvantaged, by the system, let's call it, and something that we continue to kind of promote. So we just closed off, obviously, our third recipient, and now focused on getting to our fourth pretty quickly. And we have a big, broad application process. Really put time and effort into picking someone that we can truly help, and that we feel is really deserving of something better.
Yeah, it's always nice to see companies thinking about, of course, thinking about social equity efforts first and foremost in cannabis, because again of how many people that have been disenfranchised by the plant over the years due to the federal legalities, right? But with y'all, it's great to see that are companies that go above and beyond. It's like, it's not that you're just checking the box and saying, or just like you said, donating. You're actually putting your heads together and thinking, okay, what can we do that's different? What can we do that truly makes an impact? And that's such a great program that you have. And I think that it's awesome that you really do, put a lot of resources into one worthy recipient each year. I don't know how frequently you do it, but I mean, that's really what I
A
mean.
little bit more frequent than that.
Yeah, I mean, but
Yeah,
it's just great that you focus all those efforts on one particular entity and then and go on. So kudos to you on that. I gotta say, I'm a fan of Gage Cannabis for sure. I am a shareholder myself, and
appreciate it. Thank you.
yes, sir. Yes, sir. And the fact that you've been on twice now, Fabian, I think I get some gear, some swag, man, some Gage
Oh,
shirts or
please. Yeah, send me your address. I would love to send you some gear so you can represent us properly in Texas.
yes, I'll sport it on the podcast and maybe cookies too, a cookie shirt or something. I got to
Of
talk to
course. Of
your
course.
friends over there. So
Yeah.
awesome, man. Well, hey, I really appreciate your time. Thanks again for coming back on. I got a lot out of what Gage is up to and really where you guys want to be. And I know that the audience got that as well. So thanks again, Fabian.
Yeah, appreciate you having me on, and obviously call me back anytime.
Of course. Yes. And thank you all for listening.
Take care.
Bye.
Have a good day.